in a different time zone is on the East Coast is Cheriss May. So Cheriss, it is all yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Jay. Hey, everyone. This is going to be really informal. So again, as Frank said, if you have any questions, put it in the chat. But my name is Cheriss May, as Frank said, and I'm in Washington, D.C. And I primarily do documentary and photojournalism work. And I cover mostly politics here in DC, of course. So I am going to share my screen.
Calls that reservoir of goodness beyond and of another kind, that we are able to do each other in the ordinary cause of things. That reservoir of goodness. If we can find that grace, anything is possible. If we can tap that grace, everything can change. Amazing grace. Amazing grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. From our lives by a bullet from a gun. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone? Where in God's name is our backbone to have the courage to deal with it and stand up to the lobbies? It's a time to turn this pain into action for every parent, for every citizen in this country. We have to make it clear to every elected official in this country. It's time to act.
It was very terrifying because I never thought that was going to happen.
Inside a 4th grade classroom, the 10-year-old said he and his classmates hid near the backpacks. This photo of the classroom was taken long before the shooting.
5 of us hiding there and then the rest under a table. But that didn't stop one of my friends getting hurt. The shooter shot through the window and hurting my friend and my teacher. Like my teacher got hurt like on right here, like on what I don't know which side, but she got hit on the side. And then my friend got like shot through the nose. And they both had to get surgery.
Perez said an officer helped him and his classmates escape through a window, but not before the shooter had killed his friends.
McKenna, Tess, Annabelle, basically almost some of them, basically almost all of them.
Some calls.
So I don't know about you, but I, when I was a kid, I didn't have to worry about anything like that. You know, it would be playing outside. They were my friends. But now kids nowadays have active shooter drills, and it's just, you know, a new life, a new day, things that we have to worry about. A lot of in the work that I do, I see an intersection. So I cover politics. So I cover things that happen at Capitol Hill. and I'll cover things that happen at the White House, and then I'll cover things that happen within communities, you know, in the area. So I see the effects of what happens one place affects the other and vice versa.
Some calls.
I'm just gonna stop this for a second because for whatever reason, my slideshow is not wanting to advance.
Some calls.
Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna share my screen again, and we'll go at it again. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep, now you're full screen. You're good.
All right, so the video earlier, I showed a clip when then President Obama was given a eulogy at Senator Pinckney's funeral. And if you don't remember, Reverend Pinckney, who was also a senator, was one of the ones in South Carolina that the shooter came in and shot them while they were there and killed 9 people while they were having Bible study. So this is Senator Pinckney's 2 little daughters. And the youngest daughter was actually at that church the day that the shooter came in. She was there with her mom. They were just in another room. They were in a room right next door to the room where the shooting happened, where they were having Bible study. So they could hear everything that was going on. Bullets actually came through the wall into the room that they were in. And she said later on, his widow, Miss Pinckney, that the shooter tried to enter the room where they were after he had killed everyone in the room next to them. So this particular day, this was in 2016, and President Obama with then Vice President Joe Biden, they had an event where he was signing a gun reform bill. And so they had invited, this organization that no one asked to join, those who had lost their children to gun violence and family members. So we have a father here from Parkland, I do believe. And then here is President Obama standing with from different shootings, really. You have Mrs. Pinckney is all the way on the right side in the gray suit. You have parents there who are from Newtown and Connecticut, and they were from all over. So I don't know if you remember this, but this was the time where this particular event where President Obama got really emotional, which I played a little of that clip in the earlier video. So for me, a lot of this is, it's hard to cover because it is very emotional. But for me, as in the work that I do, I feel like it's my responsibility, like this is my way of doing something about it, is sharing the stories, letting people, know what's going on, showing people the full story.
So, Cheriss, when you're in that room,
Yes.
you're feeling it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
do you get the sense that everyone now thinks this is the moment, or is there that DC kind of head where, here's the moment and it's going to dissipate? Does it ever feel different, like after Sandy Hook or the church? Like, can you give us that sense in that room?
I can tell you, like, so in the beginning, like, when I first started covering politics and with school shootings, it was around this time. And I can tell you early on, we had that feel. And I personally can say I had that feel where it's like, oh my God, like it just like hit you, like, I can't believe we're here. But to be honest with you, today in 2022, sadly, what people say is there'll be another one. It'll happen again. I traveled with the president, President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden to Uvalde, Texas, when they went to pay their respects. And sadly, that was what people were saying is, this is really sad, with the kids, especially seeing all the little kids there. But sadly, this is going to happen again because nothing is moving in terms of any kind of laws or anything to make any changes. This particular event was outside of the Capitol. And again, they brought together families who had lost loved ones to gun violence. And the name of this event was Disarm Hate. And so some of those families, this is when Congressman Lewis was still living. And so you had these members of Congress along with these families who lost family members. As you can see, one of the congresswomen is holding pictures of all the families that were there. Here's Miss Pickney again with her two daughters. And to me, when I'm documenting these events, my heart really goes out to the kids. And the amount of trauma for for children to have to endure, like, just really, pulls at my heart. Now this one, I kind of went back and forth whether I was going to add this to the presentation, but this is a mother who, her daughter died due to gun violence. And this was the autopsy photo. And she wanted this to be seen. She wanted people to see and not forget. She wanted people to just feel the pain and the anguish that she feels. And so she would go around to different events and she would bring this photo with her that she took when they did the autopsy. So this is when I went to Texas. President Biden is hugging the principal of Robb Elementary School here. It was very emotional. And so, as you've seen on the news, they have these life-size photos of the children that were surrounded by these white roses. And this is all of their pictures, and the teachers' pictures are all along the yard on the grass in front of the school. After they went in front of the school and met the principal, then they went to church. And this church has been the resource for families and assisting them and helping them with all of their services, other social services and things. So this is the church. The Monsignor invited all the children that were there in the church to come down front. He wanted to give them a blessing and to talk to them. He said that he knew that they were going through a lot. There are a lot of things they have seen, but he wanted to let them know that they were loved.
And this is a small town, huh?
It is. It's very small. Yeah. It's one where probably, you know, it's so small, everybody probably knows each other, you know, there. And this here, so we were actually headed back to the press vans. And when you're on these, you know, type of trips where they're like a day trip where you're coming and going in the same day, everything is like, it's fast movements for us, you know, as the press. And so the Bidens had just left church and they were headed actually to meet with all of the families. And so we were headed to the press van so that we could go to, we were going to hold, because we didn't go to that meeting. The meeting was private where they met with the families. And so we were going to hold like nearby where they were having the meetings. So as I was headed back to the press van, I saw this little girl with the little teddy bear, and then the police officer standing there, and just the contrast of the innocence of a child and, you know, having to see everything that's going on. Again, like I said, when I was a kid, that's not something that I had to worry about. This was at the end of the night, because it was a long day. We left early in the morning. The Biden went like over 3 hours with the families. So we were holding in a room while they were meeting with them. And so by the time we got back to DC, it was night.
Yeah, and you know, as being part of the press, you have to stay in this space with all the other press. You can't say I'll meet you back in an hour, or
Oh,
you
no.
take the bus. It's
Yeah.
all locked down.
Yeah, it's security wise because we've been checked, we've been swept. So we stay secured. We stay, you know, we have Secret Service that are with us, that accompany us. You know, they sweep our equipment and they sweep us. And so, you know, if we were to leave the area, we would have to be swept again. But for those type of trips, you can't like go off anywhere. You have to stay within that protective bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Maya Angelou. There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. So for me, like I said earlier, although it's hard, it's painful. And again, like people who have been through this, it's a trauma, there's trauma, there's pain, there's hurt that really lasts a lifetime, and they learn how to live through that. So being on the other side of that and documenting that and covering that, it's really, really emotional and really painful. And so there are things that that I have to do, and I recommend anyone who does this work so that you can kind of have that release and not hold on, you know, to all of that, because it's a lot, it's really heavy, but it's something that I feel like I have a responsibility to do.
And what do you do for relief?
I have several different things. I love music, so I'll go and, you know, where some live music is playing. You know, I'm spiritual, so I'll pray. Sometimes I draw as a release for fun. So anything that takes me away from looking at the news, you know, and kind of thinking about that.
Right.
That's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone in the chat room was, you know, George saying, wow. Yeah, it's, you know, how, I'm just trying to think, you know, like, so you're on the plane ride home.
Mhm.
And is there anger? Is there sadness? Is there, like, what is it that, when you get off that plane, like, is there hope? Is there hope that something is going to come out of this? And does Biden share any of the stories to you guys in regards to the family members that he met or anything like that?
Later on, that particular night, he didn't talk. And, I don't blame him. That was a very emotional day.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And to be honest with you, with the press, we were all really quiet too. There wasn't a lot of chatter or banter going on. People were just really quiet, which to me spoke volumes. I know what I was feeling. It was like just a heavy day. In terms of hope, I like to say I always have hope. I like to hold on to hope. Otherwise, what do
you got?
It wouldn't be good. Like, what else can you do? I will say that it's going to take a lot to make changes, but something has to be done. Something has to give. Otherwise, will be a normal part of our lives. I was talking to Frank earlier before everyone came on. Before I came down to do the presentation, I saw that there was another shooting at a church nearby Alabama.
Yeah,
and they said it was an elderly man who was a gun dealer. And he, was in the church. A church member invited him to come sit with them, and he pulled out a handgun and started shooting.
Yeah, 3 people are dead.
Oh, 3 people dead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like we said before, that doesn't even raise an eyebrow, because we wait for the ones that have 10 and 15, and those are the ones, and there again, is 3 families and a town devastated, right?
Sadly, it's almost like it's becoming normalized, which is like a sad state that this would be normal. Yeah. And someone had asked in the chat, yes, the Michelle Obama behind me is a photo that I took. It is one of my. Thank you very much for the compliment.
Yeah, I confirm that.